Please rise. Recite the pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's see, Ms. Vaughn, we've got 3 absences. Mrs. Lawson will not be here. She's recovered from migraines, and I think Dr. Lynn and Ms. Fogarty both will be here in hopefully just a little bit. First order of business is approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved.
A motion by Ms. Usselton. Do we have a second?
Second.
Well, I got accused only listening to one side, Ms. Johnson, so you won't get that one. Okay. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Not. If you're for the agenda as presented, please respond by saying aye, or raise your hand, please. Any opposed? All right, next item is there any individual here to address the board on an agenda item or a non-agenda item? If not, we'll go to unfinished business. Dr. Carter, number 1, Facilities and Maintenance Committee. Well, that's me. OLG, the maintenance committee, reported at least twice on our issues, drainage at Bel Air, and that we were going to possibly contract with Oliver Little and Gibson, who's done plenty of work for the school system, and we thought that the water lines coming in we're going to be in the neighborhood of 75 to 100,000 or so. The drainage work at one time we thought would be about 350. The letter that Mr. Rogley got from OLG is a little bit quicker than I thought it would be, and everybody's got a copy of it. They're listing their fees if they to bid, to design, and to oversee the construction project would be $30,000, and we've done. I feel like we've done, this has already been before the board and okayed, except we haven't okayed the fee. And that fee, we would probably need a motion for OLG to provide the services to design and construct to not to exceed $30,000, knowing that what happens if he bids and the prices are way out of whack, and we decide we're not going to do anything. I can't imagine that that's going to happen, but if that would be, it would not be $30,000. We would negotiate for what the time that they've already put in. We have not. The maintenance committee has not met since our last meeting, so I do not have anything to report. But Ms. Vaughn will get with Dr. Lynn and Ms. Lawson, and we're going to meet before the next meeting between the study session in January and the January meeting. Are there questions here? Go ahead.
Yeah, just if you would explain. Okay, they're saying 300 to 325,000 for the site drainage.
That is their estimate.
That's their estimate,
yeah, which
right.
is a little bit lower than what we had talked about. Keep going.
And the $75,000 is in addition?
Yes, that's a different project.
Okay.
That's not drainage, but the water lines need replaced.
Right. So that brings it up to 400,000.
Approximately.
We're saying approximately 400,000.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to
Right.
clarify.
And that is to come from our reserves.
Okay.
Do we have a motion for the design and construction not to exceed $30,000 for OLG?
Can I ask one last
Sure.
question? I'm so sorry. This is really naive of me. They do have the hourly rate on here, right, for the design fee, correct? Is that on here? Is that on this back? That's on this back page? Like 200,
Yeah.
so you know what? They don't tally it up, but is that like $1,000? I mean, what, is that like a rough number?
That's the hourly time for each one of those persons.
Okay, and all of these people would be in charge of this particular they would, all those people would be working on this project, right?
It's some of them, at least the most of them would, yes. Do you know the answer to that, Mike? Is this?
There'll be a team. It won't be everybody, but it could be any one of those people. That's a boilerplate sheet that's on the back of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me reduce my question, because I'm not asking this correctly. Okay, let me ask this. Do they think it's gonna take 30,000? I just need to get to that part.
If they
To
oversee
design
the whole-
this?
No, to design and
The
conduct
administration
the
of the
bids and
project.
administer, and they are
That's
supervising
the
the
contractor,
construction.
I guess is the way you would look at it.
Okay.
Now, at some point, Mr. Miller's going to be involved with the contracts.
And it's typical for their hourly rates to be in there because this contract that we will ultimately negotiate and sign will have certain things. If you ask them to do something that's not within the scope of work, then you'll pay by the hourly rate.
Okay.
And that's what the rates are there.
Okay. I was just trying to, kind of like Amy was adding up numbers, I was just trying to say, do we then need to tack on another 30 grand? I mean, yeah, 30 grand for this particular aspect?
If we do
I mean,
all
is that-
of it.
Okay, okay. Okay, sorry.
Any other question? If not, I'll entertain a motion then, as I stated.
So moved.
Motion. Do we have a second? Second. Second by Dr. Johnson. Any further discussion?
Dr. Lynn.
Dr. Lynn,
okay.
excuse me.
I was gonna say,
Excuse me.
that's all right. I got so many more
Confirmed
board now.
another
I feel
degree.
elevated.
If you're for the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Are there any questions for the maintenance committee other than what we just reported? If not, now, Dr. Carter.
Yes. District policy 3.212, that's the water testing policy, has been through our study session, it's gone through the board session. This is the second reading, and it has been seen by Mr. Miller, so we recommend that it be approved.
And this is the second reading of it, correct?
Yes.
And again, remember, this came out of Day on the Hill last year when Dr. Dan Lawson and I went to a committee meeting for the state statute involving lead and water testing, and we immediately came back and found that tested ours, and that this is a policy to continue that testing. Our water was in great shape. Do we have a motion? We need a motion on the second reading. Motion? Do we have a second?
Seconded
Second, Ms.
by
Johnson.
Dr. Johnson.
By Dr. Johnson. MS Johnson and PhD Johnson. Any other discussion? If not, if you're for motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, Dr. Carter.
Yes, it's policy 5.108. TSBA recommends that we grab the last paragraph of that policy and move it to 5.108. There are no changes. It basically says all employees shall report being charged to the director through their,
This is a TSBA recommendation,
it is.
and Mr. Miller's also seen it.
I don't know if he's seen it or not, but we had it already. We're just moving this part of the policy.
This is a one reading.
It is, yes.
And it's just going from one section to another?
Yes.
Same wording?
Yes. Same wording, everything's the same.
Okay,
Do we have a motion?
so moved.
So moved by Ms. Fogarty. Second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Lynn. Any further discussion? Not if you're for motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. Dr. Carter.
We have no recommendations for policy section 4 this time.
Okay. So TSBA recommend no changes on that one.
Correct.
Thank you. Textbook Committee, Mr. Carver.
As you are well aware, board members, and a reminder to the audience that we're mandated to have a textbook selection committee. The members have been presented in your working papers tonight. They have all recognized their oath of office. And with your approval, then we'll sign off on that, and they'll be duly charged.
Where are they?
They're on
They're
the
Okay.
website.
Yeah.
Can-
Dr. Tullahoma, Mr. Travis Moore, Ms. Amy Sisk, Ms. Sherry Zimmerman, and Ms. Mandy Moore.
Sorry.
There you go.
So this must be some CTE.
Susan, you want to go ahead?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It is social studies for this year, and that Dr. Dillahay, Mr. Moore, and Ms. Sisk are representing the 3 different grade bands for social studies. Dr. Zimmerman is representing CTE. We have business administration, finance, and I think marketing. Yes, and marketing for adoption. And then Ms. Moore is representing foreign language with Spanish at our high school.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion. Is there a motion?
So moved. So,
Motion by Gigi. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Usleton. Any further discussion? If you're for the motion, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. The vision and mission statement, I couldn't get it to come up. Do you have it where it's going to be up?
I thought it was ready.
There's a,
Okay.
there's a hard copy in front of everyone here.
Thank you, sir.
Wait a second, go ahead. Did you want to speak to that, sir?
All I want to do to speak to it is to thank every person that came to our mini retreat. And I did not have time to respond to every email, in fact, but I had a great time and enjoyment looking at them. There's been a tremendous amount of collaboration and collegiality here that I told Mr. Carr tonight, I don't know that we've had a more of a real singular effort to do anything than that. I'm really proud of our board for this. Dr. Carver, you want to speak to it?
I just wanted to make mention that the experience that the board went through Saturday and the following emails is an example of a flipped learning experience or a flipped classroom where you have the face-to-face and then the discussion and the work happens online afterwards. And again, I'd have to say the finished product, and for the audience, it reads, the Tullahoma City Schools exists to provide challenging and innovative experience that support each student's academic, social, and emotional development, preparing them to live with integrity and a sustained passion for learning. And I think this will be the foundation from which everything that we do going forward can build on. One of the things I think is important when it talks about that passion for learning was a video that we captured, I captured last week. It's been out on Twitter, but it kind of speaks to finding a person's passion. And go ahead with that, if you would, please, Sandy. She was real nervous about this. You get the sound?
She's going to scream out.
There we go. I can hear something.
When she comes out.
No. Right here. This dot right here.
She had it moved up earlier though, didn't you, Sandy?
Yeah.
I think she'd already had it moved up.
Oh,
there she is.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Hey, can you give me your name, please?
Angela Carver.
And what's your position with Tullahoma City Schools?
I'm the director of nutrition.
Okay. And we were talking about a proposal you had just a second ago. You want to just talk to me a little bit about the food truck and how you used it?
Sure. We started a food truck last summer. We went out and served breakfast and lunch every day that we were not in school, Monday through Friday. And it was a pilot program to see how it would do and how we could reach our community. From the year prior, we had served 8,000 more meals, and we're able to outreach to students that had no access to get to our schools. They didn't have any locations that were close enough for them to walk. So by us going to them, we were able to feed them throughout the summer.
Outstanding. And you were kind of sharing with me your story. Before coming to work for Tullahoma City Schools, you managed the country club restaurant?
I did. Yes.
Okay, and before that, what did you tell me you did?
I worked for Cisco Food Distributor as a sales and marketing rep.
And before that, what did you do?
I ran a restaurant here in town called Fast Jack's, which is now 122 West.
And before that?
I was in college.
And what was the degree that you got in college?
Biological sciences.
And you went from biological sciences to working in food service, right? And so you were telling me why you went with food service.
Well, I had always done food service and customer service since the day I was 16. I had started working at a local restaurant called Crockett's, and I just had a passion for serving my community. And even after I went to college and I found out how much money it would cost to go and get my doctorate in physical therapy, I decided I'm going to stick with my passion and do it ever since.
Wow, that is a great story. You graduated from here in Tullahoma?
Yes, sir, in 2000.
In 2000, so here it is 18 years later, and you're doing our food service, and you put food service in black, and now you're hitting me up for permission to get a food truck so you can serve kids. Wow, that is way cool. Thank you for being on the team.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think the thing that's important about that is that she had a passion in high school for food service and for serving. She went a different direction into college and then ended up going back to what she was passionate enough in the first place and doing quite well. And I guess, you know, our mission statement speaks to that. We need to identify the passion and the skills of every kid and get them situated so that they can chase their passion but also to have a profession. And that...
and sustain the passion.
And sustain the passion, that's correct. So I think this is a good example of someone who knew their passion, went a different direction, but early on came back to it, and now is quite happy and a contributing member to the Tullahoma City School team. So that's all I've got, sir.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt mission statement as proposed?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Fogarty. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Lynn. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the motion, please respond with raising your hand when you're opposed. Thank you all. And again, I'm proud of our board. Let's see, the consent agenda only has the minutes, but I assume we need to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Johnson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Took away your doctorate. Dr. Lynn, seconds. Any further discussion? If not, if you're for the consent agenda as presented, which is the minutes, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you. And that has got, now to you, Mr. Carver.
I see we have a placeholder here for Ms. Keene.
She will not be here.
She will not be here? Okay. And then Greg, did you have, Dr. Carter, did you have anything to add for this evening?
The report is there, it's listed.
Okay, very good. And that would-
Is there, was there any personnel changes? Because I couldn't get them
And
covered.
they're listed there.
Pardon me?
And they're listed. There were. On the personnel report.
On the right-hand side.
Did you see it's not just me? Thank you.
Okay.
Obviously, there's somebody in there that Ms. Vaughn didn't want me to see. All right. Before we adjourn, there's been a member or two that did not realize that Dr. Lawson's last meeting was his last meeting. And I'm going to, anybody that would like to make a comment about his tenure here is free. Nobody has to make one, but if there's somebody that would like to do that, that's fine. And I would like Ms. Vaughn to make sure, as Dr. Lawson himself used to say, have it sprinkled upon the minutes.
I would like, I didn't, it kind of just hit me all of a sudden the last time that it was his last meeting. And I spoke about this at the dinner that we had, but I wanted to say something at our final meeting for the year. Dan was the best teacher that I've ever had. I learned a tremendous amount from him, and he spent many, many hours with me. Many, 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 many hours with me. And he was, it sounds like he's gone, like, and he's always been incredibly patient and kind with me, and I really, really will always appreciate him for that.
Anyone else?
I'd like to say that having spoken with him at length on topics other than just school-related items, he amazed me, never ceased to amaze me at such a broad knowledge he had of so many things. I mean, it's unbelievable that a person could know something about that many items and to know in depth on a lot of the things that we discussed. I was very impressed with him. I think he was a good teacher for me too. I think he was a good mentor. And I think he, you know, it didn't matter if the topic was, you know, of one nature or another. He seemed to be able to come through and try to teach at the same time while he was explaining. I think he was a friend. I think he and I did not always agree on everything, and that was fine. But at the same time, I think we had a lot of, actually I know we had love and respect for each other, and I appreciate him, and he will be missed. And I pray that wherever he goes, whatever he does, that God will continue to guide him and use him like he has here in Tullahoma.
Thank you. Anybody else other than we need to make sure we also mention that the reception is Sunday at 2 o'clock, community reception at the high school. Also, the board sent a meal over to Mr. Carver's house when he first moved, and his wife has written a nice note, probably nicer than what our director probably could have written himself.
Thank you, sir.
Does anybody else, any business come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Ms. Ustin has a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Dr.
I'm the doctor.
Johnson. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Now, Pat, does that power going to apply to my student loans? Can you